My name is Stephen Marty Welch. I'm a painter and I based my career around portraiture. I enjoy the continual challenges that different characters bring to my work, and they allow me a huge opportunity to vary my style, and no two sitters are ever the same. Today, I'm meeting New Zealand's most watched current affairs host, Mark Sainsbury. I'm curious to find out what his perspective on being a national face is all about. Is there a way that I can capture a side of him away from the camera?
Should I be nervous?
You can be, it's up to you. Also, I'll be meeting and painting a very bright personality, the very sunny Petra Bagust. I've always wanted to know more about her. Does she have a side that's different from her screen persona? What drives her? You know, I'll be looking forward to meeting her and capturing a side perhaps others don't really see. Just get you into the chair.
Nice.
Make yourself nice and comfy, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll just grab a few tools. So if we can just go back to a little bit from the beginning for you. Did you come straight out of senior school into television, or was there an intermediate before you went into TV, or how did it start for you?
I went to art school. I did a painting degree.
Serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how did that work out?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of tricky tutors. I did. And I did waitressing part-time, which is being paid to socialise when you're marketing.
And where's this? Is this here in Auckland or Christchurch? Yep.
Yeah. So I went down to Elam, swapped that for telly about halfway through the degree. Somebody came up with the idea of doing regional music in Christchurch, called it Cry TV, put it in a nunnery on top of a hill. Well, it was actually a garage. Yep. And we were broadcasting. So four nights a week I used to drive up to the Sugarloaf and do a little show.
I started in Victoria studying law, and then sort of dropped out and ran hotels and drove buses, and then I went to the States doing awnings, you know, like those canvas awnings. Yeah. We used to do all these sort of Hollywood movie stars' homes and things like that, you know, and you keep thinking you're going to be discovered any second. But
who's the biggest star that you've seen in Hollywood?
Oh,
while you were doing this at a young...
doing all the awning stuff. I remember we did something for Clint Eastwood. And often you think this is really exciting, because you rock up thinking they're going to be at the door saying, come on in, you know, but no. You were shuffled round to the servants' entrance. I was going to go back and finish law, and I did journalism because I thought it'd be a good part-time... I didn't want to be a poor student anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It was the weather that really got me somewhere.
Why the weather?
Oh no, I filled in doing weather when the lady had a baby.
Yep.
So I did the weather for 3 months, and they were like, maybe she'd be okay on like prime time, maybe she'd be all right. So then that was when I...
So this is why you were doing Ice TV as well?
Yeah, that was my summer job.
For the major prime time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a summer job doing weather forecasting.
Summer job, yeah, it's sunny.
Pretty sunny today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did try and include a Dave Dobbin lyric in one of my weather reports, Outlook for Thursday, your guess is as good as mine.
Did anyone pick it up?
Yeah, they went, actually, no, they didn't. They said, we forecast, we don't guess. And I'm like, oh, come on, I'm quoting.
I've been away a few years, and you go and do this current affairs sort of questionnaire, and you're thinking, hang on, Kampuchea, now what country did that used to be? I mean, you know, it sounds... So anyway, end up doing that, and then sort of scored a job out at Telly. And the last of the days where you could almost talk your way in, you know? So
that was your first break in TV? Yeah. And who was that? What was that for?
That was for a program called Close Up. Different program. The original Close Up was like 60 minutes without paying the licence fees, you know, 3 separate programs per hour.
So from Close Up, the original Close Up,
So that went into news down in Dunedin, and it was great. And I used to look after Queenstown and national politics, as no one else wanted to. It was a very eclectic mix, but that was great. I had a fantastic time down there.
How did breakfast come about for you? Did you have to do your audition and...
No, they rang me up.
Yeah.
Fools.
And did you know what you were getting into?
No, it was just the head of news went, can we have a cup of coffee? And I'm like, why does the head of TVNZ News want to talk to me? And I nearly said, look, I'm on a shoot, I just don't think I can fit it in. And I thought, I'd better go we go find out what it's about. And as I was cleaning my teeth that morning, I thought, hang on a minute. I sort of clicked at that point.
Yeah. When painting a portrait, you try to get to know your sitter and understand them completely as you can in a relatively short amount of time. Sometimes asking public faces about the mundane order of their day helps this process of getting to know their off-camera selves. How does your life, because it's pretty busy in the mornings.
Hubby's the mainstay, but we do have a girl who lives with us who helps out in the morning.
Yeah.
If the kids want to see me, they turn on the telly. I leave my daughter a note, but I don't get to see them till after kindy in school. Yeah. So basically I'd sort of dedicate that time, that back end of the day is for them. To get up at 4 every weekday, it took longer to acclimatise, be committed to the nap, to find out when I needed to go to bed. But it took a while to settle down, definitely.
So nightly current affairs, how does that work?
We have a meeting at 9 o'clock. Yeah. So that's with the whole team, and we talk about what's on and what we should be doing, and you'll have, and not everyone agrees with different stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so then, it's quite a free and open environment? Yeah,
well, you'll have, everyone's, and that's the thing, quite often, you always like to think, oh, my opinion is far more important than someone else, or whatever, or you've been around longer, and people have different sort of where they're coming from, and then suddenly you'll hear, oh, actually, no, that perspective is actually, I hadn't thought about it like that, and that is a better way of getting into it.
What I want to show in Mark's portrait is the person stripped away without the layers of his public image as a professional TV host. Do you get, like when you do the viewer feedback, are they quite personal towards you? Are they saying, oh, she's not looking good today, or what's wrong, instead of the we want your feedback, or whatever issue you're talking about at the time? Yeah,
and then you have a secret weapon called Shannon, and she filters out some of that stuff. Yeah. Because people are allowed to write what they want, and you're allowed to ignore it or to take it on board. So, the odd text gets through, oh, you look nice today, or what was she thinking, or whatever. But, any texts that are just clearly designed to be mean, we don't get them.
I hate that sort of, I hate the word celebrity. That's how I think, it's just sort of we do what we do, and you're on TV. There's no point going, it's like people go, if you go out for dinner and something like that, or you're just out and about, and a lot of people come and yak to you. Yeah. No problem with that. A lot of people stand right next to you as if you can't hear, going, oh, that's Mark Sainsbury, isn't he? He looks a bit fatter off TV, or whatever, like, hello.
You're not, really?
Yeah, no, people, but, as if you sort of can't hear. But you can't complain about that, otherwise don't do the job. Yeah, you can't do a job on television, especially if you're on a high-rating program or a program with a lot of exposure, and then go, oh, no, don't look or don't talk. If you can't handle that, don't do it.
Our youngest was in a swimming pool yesterday and wanted my attention, and he goes, Petra Bagust, can you watch me do a duck dive? But he would never have done that without seeing me on breakfast. Yeah. It would have just been Mum. He just was trying to get my attention. Yeah. Petra Bagust.
How was the dive? Was it a good dive?
It was a great duck dive.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lost his shorts halfway through. It was very expressive.
So it was a memorable duck dive. It's interesting how both guests don't seem to need or want public approval. The passion for the TV role itself is more important.
The news is there, that happens regardless of what I think. But as far as the talking points or the angles that you bring to it, yes, people who work on the show contribute to the content or the ideas. We pitch things. I read this, I think this, what about this commentator, what about this idea? So there is a sense from the entire team of that inputting, and Corin and I are involved in that. Yeah. I like breaking news. I just like things where you have to respond and be flexible and change and go now and update and be useful and be informative or respond.
When it comes to the breaking stories and you're dropping everything,
it's just nothing better than something happening or changing last minute. All of a sudden the show's out the window, you've got to find new people, and there's that real buzz and that energy and that adrenaline gets going, and everyone gets involved in it. I remember when we first started the home show, with Paul Holmes, when it first set off, and we used to get calls from people all the time who would ring up and say, I've got nowhere else to go. I've got nowhere else to go. I'm desperate. Yeah. And this woman rang up once and she said, look, I've got this kid and had glue ear, really bad glue ear. And she said, look, I know people don't believe it. We can't afford to fill in the prescriptions. You know, money is really, really tight. We've got so little money and everything like that. And I'm really worried and et cetera, et cetera. And she said, but anyway, they got him in for an operation. They went in, they operated on the wrong ear. And they said to her, you're back on the list. Yeah. And she was in tears on the phone. She said, I don't know what to do. I've nowhere else to go. Anyway, so I rang up. I knew one of the guys at the Wellington Hospital. And this was a great story. And we could come and we could do this. And of course you were going to win and you'd get the operation done and da-da-da. But this woman, so I rang him up. He just about choked when I told him what had happened. 10 minutes later, this woman's on the phone again saying, look, I don't know what you've done, but he's going into surgery tomorrow morning. So with a phone call, you could fix something for someone, you know. And we didn't make a big spectacular out of it, but that woman was so grateful.
Yeah, well, this is playing so much.
Grateful. But then again, you can help, but there must be heaps of other people who don't have, and you knew for her, it was a naff bit of her to actually willing to put herself out there if she needed to get her kid fixed. The last thing she wanted to do was take part in any TV program. But she was so desperate for her son.
Mark and Petra become quite animated when talking about social issues that are important to them. That level of passion comes through in their faces, which helps me, as a painter, capture a moment that's unique to each of them. You're very socially conscious of how we are as a people, aren't you?
In certain ways I am. I've got a friend who's raising money for orphanages in Africa, and she is passionate, and I go, I wish I had that, but I go, actually, I'm passionate about Kiwis not committing suicide. I would like to be able to contribute to that in some way, but I haven't necessarily figured out how to do that. But I think that it's worth living, and it's worth getting through those tough times and not taking your own life.
Talking about it, making people aware about it is the first start.
Is it time to talk about suicide more? Can we do it in a responsible way that won't contribute to suicide? What is it? What is causing young New Zealanders to think it's not worth carrying on? How can we capture their hearts and their imaginations and say, look, let's do this together, because life is worth living. But that's the position I come from, is life is worth living.
Yeah. And so when you're away from your TV requirements, what do you do just to not be the journalist? What do you have interest?
You're never not a journalist.
You must be when you just go like, oh, yeah, can't be bothered.
I love cars. I mean, I'm a cars. I like old cars and bikes. That's my sort of thing. Ever since I was a kid, I had this book. I came from a family of 6 boys. We had this book, The Observer Book of Cars, 1963.
I've got your craft ones.
Everyone had their favourite car in it. Mine was this Lincoln Continental. And you look at it, and look at the just fantastic lines. It's absolutely flat down the side, and it has to be absolutely perfect. But the various lines and what it creates and the shape, it is a piece of art. It is beauty. You look at it and you soak it up and you enjoy it and all those things, you know. It's beauty and form and structure, and they're beautiful things. I mean, they're just it's no different from art, you know.
I want art that makes me feel something. So that is, I don't really care if it's representational or abstract. I want to have an emotional response to it. I remember walking into a room in the Tate Gallery in London once and basically being brought to tears. I was just impacted. It was the Rothko room. Okay. And I got to it turns out I'd come in the wrong end, and I got to the front and I read about it, and it was like, wow, I actually had this almost spiritual experience in this room, and it's set up as a kind of a sanctum or a kind of a worshipful, thoughtful, you know, emotional space. And I had this response without reading, oh, this is what you were supposed to do. But having said that, I prefer abstract art. I like modern art. I like art now. I like what it's doing. I like the fact, not all modern art, but I like art that pushes out.
Do you think that art has the ability to change the way that people see the world and see how the country's going?
Yes. I do. I think it can influence. I think art has a voice. The best of art has a voice. And whether that's music or whether it's painting doesn't matter, because the art does represent what we think and feel about ourselves. Just because it's emotional, just because it's opinion, just because it's creative, doesn't mean it doesn't have a really strong message.
Are you nervous about how I'm going to portray you?
I know you're such a fantastic painter, mate. No, look, I've never had this done before, and I like doing something. I like doing things I've never done before.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what it is. You know, I'll always give something a crack. So like, it's like thrill-seeking sports and stuff. You know, there's as much as you. So doing something you haven't done before is going to be a bit of a buzz anyway. So yeah, so I'm interested to see how it comes out.
Good.
Better be good.
Yeah, no pressure. Look, that's us. I'm really happy with the way that it's gone. Thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, good.
It has been a pleasure.
All right.
We'll give you a call in. Do you trust me?
To do my portrait? 100%, because you're going to do your portrait.
It's your outlook. It's what you're looking at that I'm going to sort of go after. You know, essentially it's going to be you, but there's going to be what are you looking at. I think is going to be the major play of the portrait. I'm not saying I won't be confronted by it or challenged by the portrait you do, but I trust you to do a work that you would do. I just hope that there's an emotional connection to it. Cool. So do I. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in. Sorry. We will get you back in as soon as it's done. Okay. I'm confident. Can I look now? No, get out. All right, I trust you. With Mark Sainsbury's painting, tonal-wise, it's going to be very soft. It's going to be very smooth. I'm going to put quite a lot of attention into the eyes, make them quite engaging and inviting. Because while we were talking to him, he's a lovely guy to talk to, and I really want to bring that forward into the painting. So we'll just it's just maybe a slight glaze on the eyes. When you put a glaze on the eyes, it makes the eyes just a little bit more softer. The biggest difference between Mark's painting and Petra's painting will be the brush. I've used quite a round brush with Mark's painting. Petra's I'm going to use a filbert which has quite a square end on it, and that's going to allow me to get the colour, have a nice loaded brush and angle the brush strokes and leaving quite an elongated rectangle. Of the sitters, I really hope that she really likes it. I hope she enjoys it. Here we are. Yep. Oh, so, nothing to see yet? No, it's just over there. So what I need from you, if I can, and then if you could just turn towards me. Cool. Now I'm going to go back, put it on its easel. No peeking. No peeking? No peeking. No, see? I'll be back in a second. You can trust me. Okay, I'm going to leave, and just when you're ready, just turn around. All right. Okay? Yes. Good. This is kind of like a surprise present, isn't it? You don't know if you're going to like the surprise. Oh, I do like it. It's kind of wistful. Yeah, I like it. And maybe even a little soft focus. I like that too. Yeah, I think Marty's paintings are quite insightful. I think he captures an essence of people sometimes. I wondered if it would be more impasto, you know, that thick paint and a bit more gritty reality. Whereas I think, while it's definitely representational, I like his brush strokes. They seem quite relaxed. It doesn't seem like me with my race face, which is what it's like. You go in the morning to work and you get made up and you get your hair done and you're professional, you know, you're in front of the cameras, you're doing a job that you're passionate about. But this seems a bit more like perhaps me not at work. Yeah, nice job. And I wasn't expecting to like it. I was quite prepared, you know. To give it a blast. Yeah, to say, oh, I hate it and storm out. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not. But really right. That'd be an honest reaction. I know, that would have been good, wouldn't it? You want one of those every series. Somebody who storms out. No, not really. To be honest, it didn't go according to plan straight away until I started coming up through here and just started relaxing and just moving these skin tones around, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what's going on now. And then it just went.
Because I think you can't be too fussy with it having to be, thinking about being attractive or nice. You do have to just sort of be honest, don't you, to try and be authentic.
So how did you find the whole experience? Is it nerve-wracking from beginning to end, or was it quite an easy process?
It was easy, but more interestingly, perhaps, it's a chance to stop, and I think we're busy, life is busy and full, and to take stock and to think about what motivates you was a pleasure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and seeing as that looks quite real, and yet I don't mind it, is also good.
I'm just going to walk out.
All right.
You just turn around when you're ready.
Okay.
All right.
The first thing you sort of look at is grey eyebrows. That's a worry. I don't know quite what I was expecting, but it's warts and all, isn't it? You know. Well, it's very good.
Oh, good.
I don't know what I was expecting, I guess.
Yeah.
And it actually reminds me a bit of my dad. I look at that and I see bits of my dad.
Oh, okay. Well, is there a particular part or just the overall?
Yeah, it's hard to say really. There's funny sort of things, the shape of the face and the look in the eyes and that sort of stuff.
I don't think you got big ears.
No, but if you look, I suppose it's the perspective of
because there's no ear.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you just slim that in a bit, it just about be perfect. You know?
I'm not going to Photoshop it.
It's great. It's a really interesting painting. It's a different experience. Other side of the fence for me doing this.
Is that me on telly or me at home? What do you think?
I think it's more you at home, really. I don't know. I mean,
you don't. I'm
not stalking you. I'm not outside peering through the windows.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are you?
Right here.
Oh, here.
I noticed you've got a bigger one.
I did, but mine's looser. Look at yours.
Yeah. We can swap.
We could. How about that? We'll hang you in my bedroom.
You're only human, Petra.